Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, guys. JB here. I want to apologize for not posting a kind of a weekly forecast this past week. I was busy with some family stuff. However, I will be posting two videos. I'm going to do one today, which this one, and then I'm going to do another. I'll do a weekly forecast, kind of what I'm looking at for the week ahead tomorrow. But someone asked me from our lovely community how I go about selecting trades for higher time frames. So I'm going to briefly go over that. I'm going to try to keep this one short. So what I do and what I've been doing this past week is if you ever wonder how do people or how does the UF team get their daily and 4-hour strength numbers. And I will preface this by saying that I don't necessarily use the numbers to dictate where to look. Yes, it can help, but mainly I use it as a way for me to sit down and physically look at the charts. Because essentially what you need to do is look at the most recent break or breach, right? And then we kind of develop a number here. So I'm looking at the AUDs, okay, Aussie dollar, and I have all 7 pairs up here. And then this one is blank, and then so basically everything on this side are the ones where the Aussie dollar basically going down would mean strength for Aussie dollar. So your euro Aussie dollar and pound Aussie dollar. Okay, so that's how this is laid out. And so what do I do then? Well, basically I want to find a given time frame on here where I keep everything consistent. So let's just say the 21st of September at 8 a.m. Okay? So we can see we had this hold here, and then price started coming down, right? So this would have been a breach, right? So I kind of just mark things off so we know guy started is going to kind of be up here, right? If you're wondering how I have these saved like this, if you go into the settings, you can go text, type stuff, you go template, you go save as, you can name it, okay? It comes very handy. You can see price came all the way down here. This is all one movement in my eyes, okay? And now it started to pull back here on the 4th, towards the end of the week. I like to put another line just to kind of denote where the bottom is. And usually I like to keep that also yellow. Okay, so we haven't, no new breaches. It's pulled back and kind of held at this line again. Right, we've got all this room that it can go up. Okay, so then I'd go to the next one and look at the same thing. Okay, so what do we do here? We did it on the 21st, so at 8. So let's see here, 21st at 8 is right here. Again, you can see it kind of held in this area, right? So we'd have, again, another little area where it breached. And actually the Aussies moved quite a bit this week, as you can tell. This would be the guy who started it. And then if we add another, right, price kind of came down here and started pulling back. All right, so I should say, okay, what does this mean strength-wise? Okay, so these are going down, right? And it's a breach to the downside, right? So what does that mean? So for this one, this would be, since Aussie is on top of US dollar, going down is bad. That means that is USD strength or CAD strength in these two examples, right? So this would give these both a -1, okay? And again, don't worry about these. This is just, it helps me find time to sit down and look at the flow of the markets, right? But I'm going to show you how we get strength numbers. And my numbers could be different than what UF posts, right? It depends on your reference, which our reference is the 21st, okay? All right, so I'm gonna leave this here. So we got -1, -1. So now we're looking at Aussie JPY. We're looking at the 21st at 8, kind of see where, where it's at. And it's around here. So again, we can see that we kind of held in this area and then it broke down. This is not as strong as these guys. All right, so again, if we look at, I think I put 2 here on accident. Yeah, let's put this one down here. All right, this kind of, yeah, we can kind of say around here. Maybe this is the guy who started. Okay. And this would be the breach. All right. All right. So then on to the next one. And if we want to, again, if we want to do this, -1, right? Still going to the downside. All right. It's a clear breach. It's not breach and then breach up kind of thing where that'd be neutral, like a 0, or it's not going in Aussie's favor, which would be a +1. All right, so again, if we move on to the next one, we have Aussie Swiss franc, again around September 21st at 8 is around here. You can again see that the market kind of held here. Right, and there would be a breach, and it came down here and started pulling back. And let's see here, this would be the guy who started it. Let's put these in. I just like to keep these for your guys' benefit so you can see what I'm marking. And this here is just a placeholder. These ones down here, kind of just showing where market's holding currently, right? We need to get past that and hold in order for it to be a breach, a new breach. So actually this one's interesting, so we'll probably talk about this one tomorrow. All right, so next one, we gotta rate this again, going down, -1, okay? All right, next thing, again, we're looking at this one, let's see here, 21st is around here at 8. So this one's a little tricky, but really we try to keep the same area. It's kind of this whole thing here, right? But we've kind of held here, and then now we've breached. Okay. So you can either stick hard and fast to this area, 21st at 8, and look, okay, you kind of had like a faker, and then it went. Or you can just look, okay, this is your most recent breach. This is the guy who started it, in my opinion. This here is the breach, and then we're kind of holding right here at the moment. We don't really know if it's going to keep going, right? This is kind of just a pause. If it starts pulling back up, then we know this is kind of the bottom. All right. This one is also -1, okay? All right, so our next one here is the Euro Aussie. All right, so here we want to see, if we want Aussie strength, the price needs to be going down. But you can see here on the 21st, around 8 is this area in here. You can see you can either put it here or here, right? But you can kind of see we breached up, and price seems to be holding up here right now. Put in this as a breach, and then the guy who started it down here is what I'm calling it. Okay, one sec. Oh, I had to get a glass of water. All right, so this one's also, you can see it pulled back, came up. There might have been a trade in here. I don't quite remember. Maybe. Ideally, you want to see it come back down here. We'll see. I mean, these are higher time frames. All right, so next one. Oh, let me label it. And again, this is going to be -1, right? Because Euro is on top. So price going up that direction means Euro strength, Aussie weakness. So again, it's still -1. All right. Our next pair here is the Pound Aussie. Again, we look for that area to be consistent. We're looking at the 21st around 8. So in here. So basically it's somewhere in here. And what happened? We breached above. Now price is kind of holding up in this area right now. Guy who started it is probably going to be somewhere down here. Okay, so again with this one, it is -1. So then what do we want to do after this is we want to add all of these up, right? So -1, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So we have -7 for Aussie. So now what do I have? I'd go in here and I'd put down, for one, I don't really write on the screens, but I would do this. Oop. Oop. Right. So overall, it is a -7, meaning it's very weak, right? And then, so then we'd go through and do this for every single pair. And physically, this gives you time to look, and you're looking for the most recent breach, okay? And if you're having trouble figuring it out, you can't make out, is it breach to the upside for buyers, breach to the downside, I would give it a 0, okay? If you can't figure it out, that means it's hard to determine. So the key is find an area and then use that on every pair. You can see here, I've used the same area, same time frame. 21st is where I began, okay? Now every day, what do? I go and see if there's a new breach, right? Or is price going back the other way? And if it breaks these guys who started, if it's a strong move to the other direction, I tend to look, okay, maybe this is changing. And you see that across the board, okay, maybe it's a change of direction. Okay, and you can see I have this done for all of the pairs. And this just gives me time to focus at the charts and see kind of the flow and help me narrow down what I'm looking for. Let's see here. And then what I do is I take these numbers down here, the totals, and I just put them in here, and kind of have I didn't do it these 2 days, so I just copied the 23rd. It doesn't matter. I wasn't really looking at them that day. 26 is a Saturday for me, so I will, again, we can just copy these. And then tomorrow I'll look to calculate them again because I'm sure some of these have changed. Basically, I'm just how you can then kind of have this chart. Let's make this a little bigger. You have this chart or this graph, and you can kind of see the flow of the different currencies on a daily basis, for basically off of 4 hour. And so what you can do is be like, okay, you can see here I have strong are these numbers, 7, 6, 5, 4. Neutrals is 3 to -3. Weak is -4 to -7. So typically what UF says is, okay, you want to pair a weak with a neutral or a strong with a neutral. You can do that to narrow down what you're looking at, okay? But I found that you can find some really good trades without actually following those rules. But because I spent the time looking at the charts, figuring out these numbers, then you can spot some trades. One prime example of that, let's get rid of that one, let's put this one back in here, is the euro pound, right? If we go back to my chart here, when I saw this, I ultimately didn't take it, but both of these were neutral, right? But he had a nice pullback to this area with a V formation. With a strong V that came back up to this level and gave you a move down. Okay? Again, without looking at the charts, you won't see that because it would have appeared to be a neutral versus a neutral, right? So don't be so set on the numbers, but more of developing a process to analyze and scan the market, okay? This has helped me. It's not going to help everyone, but this is what I do, okay? So I'm looking for things pulling back, and this is actually a pullback on a higher time frame. So this is probably more like, a daily pullback, right? But we can see it if we can see it, gauge momentum on the 4 hour, then it's next time frame up kind of trade. Doesn't mean you still can't catch it, just means it's going to take longer to develop. Okay. Another example is I took a trade on, it was a euro, CAD JPY, that's what it was. CAD JPY, yeah. So basically you can ignore this here. It was at this point. So basically I saw price coming up, kind of shot down, and then I was looking to get in around these areas. And I came down. And this one, I think, I don't think I'm reached full target. I can't quite remember. I have to go back and look. But again, I was able to catch this move. Not the best. You can see it came back. It's either going to go for, set somewhere up here or reverse. What's another trade that I took? Let me pull up my phone here to kind of give you a clue of how I found these things. I think I did have a EuroCAD. Okay, EuroCAD. I'm in the wrong section. EuroCAD. Okay, so it was this one. So we had the strong move down. Price, basically I was seeing price come back up to these areas. If we pull in now, look at the 1 hour. Basically what I saw is price came up, struggled in this area, broke up again, pulled back, broke up again and held above, and then came crashing down. So I looked to get in. I think it was somewhere in this area, and I had my stops, I think somewhere like here-ish, and basically I was looking for a 2. Lately I've just been looking for 2R. That's my plan. If I can get 2R, sometimes if I can watch the charts, when it hits this area, I'll remove my take profit. If it hits this area, I'll pull out anywhere from 50 to 75% and let it run. And this one, it snapped back. I didn't move it came down near it. Well, actually, it came down near, came back, and then finally went down and took profit. And actually, this one I forgot to put it because it was not until the next day, because I thought about moving my stops, but I didn't. And then it came down and I closed it. I believe I put that in the Discord discussion. Yep, I did. Okay. All right, so that is the process. I guess, so again, to reiterate, what do I physically look for in the pairs is we have some sort of hold area, right? We want to see movement. Oh, that was garbage. Movement down, right? And then we want to see it pull back to this area, or wherever it started. Okay, and then from there, what do we want? We want to see signs of a buyer coming back, and right, this is my plan. I want to see some sort of digestion, V formation, whatever you want to call it. And then what do I look for? I don't have the time to go into a precision time frame, so what do? Is I look for areas that could potentially cause a reverse, or where you have trapped buyers and sellers. So a lot of times I kind of look at these levels around here, right? It broke up, price held, and then came down all of a sudden. There's probably an area up there where you can set a position and then let it run. All right, that's essentially what I do. If you guys have any questions, feel free to ask them. Thank you. Bye.